In this Europe zombie apocalypse game with me putting my biggest army here, my opponent didn't predict my stack, so he went for the territories at the same time wiping out zombies, but not fully using all of his troops, which I assumed that he wouldn't have to do a lot of splits, ending up in a lot of useless armies. So then I went for the one border British Empire, capturing lots of territories with avoiding to make a shorter way to the British Empire from my opponent's biggest army, and I also left an army to guard so for the higher chance to end up holding that continent. So then my opponent went for the territories and I did the same, breaking through all of the opponent's continents. And at first I was at 1 bonus troop per turn advantage, but after a turn it was equalized. Then zombies started taking over more and more territories and we ended up in this situation. I invaded my opponent into the Ottoman Empire. And then with my opponent trading an A set he made an attempt to take me out, which went unsuccessfully to him. He was short on troops and the manual rolls didn't help him either. Then with me trading an A set I decided to not go to invade my opponent into his continent, because if he had gotten A set at 3 cards, I knew the game would have been over for me. But that was probably dumb, as that might have been a chance for me to make a comeback, while with not doing that I barely had any chances to win anymore, and was forced to trade in sets before my opponent in order to survive. Though I probably shouldn't done that as it was giving my opponent the advantage, but I don't know. Then eventually I decided to capture the French Empire, hoping that my opponent might not notice the dice movement in the attack stage, so just making a regular move, but that was really dumb for me to expect since my opponent is one of the best zombie apocalypse 1v1 players, so he obviously went for that, and I just ended up wasting my precious troops on the zombies. Then eventually, trading an A set before my opponent, I decided to go all in, not knowing how many troops he has, but he had way too many and I lost. Besides an army of 4 troops in this territory, he also had 7 troops on this one. But assuming that the 4 troops army would have been his last one, then the smartest move for me would have been to manual roll it to the 1 troop, and then expect that zombies will wipe him out before wiping out me.